We live in a pressure cooker society. That's what some people in Morecambe told Frank Field and Heidi Allen, MPs, today, as they visited the town as part of their tour of Britain's food banks. The Conservative and former Labour politician are gathering evidence for a report into the causes of chronic poverty. They heard how some residents felt ashamed by the stigma of being on benefits, as our social affairs editor Jackie Long found out.
Along the Lancashire coast, Morecambe is looking to better times ahead. A multi-million-pound investment in the shape of a new Eden project is earmarked for this once booming seaside resort. For some who live here, change can't come soon enough.
I was brought up privileged. I had horses, I went to private school, I had a university education, I had good jobs. I would never have thought that I would be in this situation.
Illness, divorce, bereavement. A series of terrible events left language teacher Karen Wheeler on the breadline. At one point, she says, not even able to afford school uniform for her daughter.
There was just no help at all. So we sold the sideboard. Sounds really stupid. We sold the sideboard on Gumtree for £20 to buy the skirt. I felt ashamed of having mental health problems. I felt ashamed of the way I was feeling. I felt ashamed of going to the food bank. I felt ashamed of not being a good parent.
As her mental health deteriorated, she's ended up on employment support allowance and the disability benefit PIP. She says she's not even asking for more money, but would like the system to be kinder.
What can be so destructive is the kind of hostile environment that you're always faced with. It makes you feel like a criminal. And, you know, I can't say enough how ashamed I am already without being made to feel even worse. You feel that you're attending a session where the premise is that you're a liar. And you've just got to disprove that. You've got an hour to disprove that you're a liar.
The government would say, you know, we have to have a rigorous system. We have to check that people are not
absolutely, but it isn't
abusing the system.
It can be rigorous without using the kind of rhetoric that they use, because, you know, every time Mum goes to one of these benefit assessments, I know that it's going to go badly because of the way that they talk to her. That you can have rigorous checks and talk to someone with humanity and kindness.
Morecambe is the only coastal town on the MP's itinerary so far. According to the most recent government statistics on deprivation, parts of the town are in the most deprived 10% of areas in the country. The MP's visit is part of a listening tour across the country to try to get at what they're calling the other England, to try to understand what life is like for people living in poverty. In Morecambe, they step into a place where the very issue is hugely controversial. The Conservative MP here, David Morris, has been locked in battle with many locals over the extent of poverty in this constituency. He says while he accepts there are pockets of deprivation, he believes the picture being painted is much exaggerated.
The thing about poverty and the thing about struggling is it's an intensely personal experience.
David Morris was unavailable for interview. Inside the church hall, Conservative Heidi Allen and Independent MP Frank Field listened as people spoke about their lives.
When you're in poverty and you end up with nothing because it's all taken away and nobody cares. I became homeless, but they said I was not a priority need as I was 24, street homeless.
And volunteers who tried to help them told how they were at breaking point.
I don't think there's an MP on the planet of any colour that wouldn't admit that there's poverty somewhere, but it's that, as Frank describes it, that underbelly. It's not just the food bank, it's the stuff underneath, and that's hidden, and that's really difficult for people to see.
But is it problematic for you if you have an MP who believes you should be looking elsewhere and not necessarily in their constituency?
No, it shows the size of the task, but my reaction listening to the testimonies this morning is that how similar they are to testimonies we hear elsewhere. And the root cause for everybody that spoke is a lack of money.
In a community cafe up the road, former soldier Dusty Thomas tells me what he hopes the MPs will take away from today.
do things. So
Poverty is not just
it's
about the
been
lack
nice
of
to
money,
build
he
up
said. It's
relationships
much more
and
destructive than that.
friendships So I've always been a workaholic and put as many hours in as I could. And now I find I'm in this situation where I have to be embarrassed that I can't work anymore due to physical and mental impairments.
When you look ahead to the future, what do you feel? Do you feel any optimism at all?
No, it's very bleak. There's no sort of light at the end of the tunnel once you're put on the scrap heap, really.
In a statement, the Department for Work and Pensions said there are 1 million fewer people living in absolute poverty since 2010.
Jackie Long reporting from Morecambe.